the foreign relations of Taiwan, constitutionally and officially the Republic of China, are the relations between the Republic of China and other countries. The Republic of China is recognized by 21 United Nations member states, as well as by the Holy See.The ROC maintains diplomatic relations with those countries, as well as unofficial relations with other countries via its representative offices and consulates. The Republic of China participated in the 1943 Moscow Conference, the Dumbarton Oaks Conference, the United Nations Conference on International Organization, and was a charter member of the United Nations. In 1949, the nationalists lost the Chinese Civil War in mainland China and retreated to Taiwan. Despite the major loss of territory, the ROC continued to be recognized as the legitimate government of China by the UN and by many non-communist states. In 1971, the UN expelled the ROC and transferred China's seat to the People's Republic of China. In addition to the ad tempus recognition of ROC by a majority of countries before UN Resolution 2758, the Republic of China lost its membership in all the intergovernmental organizations related to the UN, as the UN and related organizations like International Court of Justice are the most common venues for effective execution of international law and serve as the international community for states in the post-World War II period. A majority of the countries aligned with the West in the Cold War terminated diplomatic relations with the ROC and recognized quid pro quo of the PRC instead, even though Articles 23 and 110 of the United Nations Charter explicitly refer to the Republic of China. The seat of China is occupied by the People's Republic of China since 1971. The ROC continues to maintain de facto relations, including with most of the non-governmental organizations at the United Nations. In addition, with the concern from UNESCO, exclusively, the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which is entitled by the founding of the United Nations as the cornerstone of modern-day diplomacy since the Vienna Congress, was signed and ratified by the Republic of China on the 18th of April 1961 and the 19th of December 1969, including optional protocol concerning the compulsory settlement of disputes. Article 35 of 1969 Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties also applies to the ROC after 1971. Due to the ROC's insecurity and intolerance in the 1970s and 1980s after being expelled by the UN and the termination of official US-ROC diplomatic relations, but by the American persuasion, Taiwan has been gradually democratized and adopting universal suffrage from the one-party military rule under the leadership of President Chiang Ching-kuo. The first direct presidential election was held in 1996 and the incumbent President Lee Teng-hui was elected. As of the 4th of May 2015, ROC nationals are eligible for preferential visa treatment from 142 countries and areas. In the context of superpower and influential diplomacy, the ROC's traditional and sober allies includes United States of America, Canada, Japan, Australia and New Zealand. The ROC's cultural diplomacy includes the establishment of the Taiwan Resource Center for Chinese Studies in 2012 in major universities around the world. The ROC is one of the main supporters of official development assistance. International Cooperation and Development Fund manages ROC's foreign assistance and international cooperation projects. As of 2010, along with other U.S. security allies including Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea in the Asia-Pacific region with Taiwan Relations Act. Officials of the ROC have gained quasi-official level visits to the United States both in the governmental and political level, including the U.S.-Taiwan Cooperative Military Guidance in the annual Hankwang Joint Force Exercises, the Common Strategic Objectives of Joint Statement of the U.S.-Japan Security Consultative Committee of 2005 and 2011 included to encourage the peaceful resolution of issues concerning the Taiwan Strait through dialogue and encourage China's responsible and constructive role in regional stability and prosperity, its cooperation on global issues, and its adherence to international norms of behavior, while building trust among the United States, Japan, and China. Improve openness and transparency with respect to China's military modernization and activities, and strengthen confidence-building measures with China's rapid expanding military investments. Taiwan's GDP by nominal means is ahead of several G20 economies of global financial governance. In the context of international norm of tabula rasa, there is a variety of forms for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the ROC as a de facto state in readiness to join the international community, and as a sui generis entity of international law abiding by the reference of ex factus jurage principle and a priori and a posteriori of the Republic of China, to participate in the international organizations as defined by the international organizational norms and Union of International Associations. Historical background: Taiwan was annexed from China by Japan in 1895 after the First Sino-Japanese War. In the Northern Expedition, the nationalists defeated the warlords of the Beiyang clique and established a unified government for China in Nanjing. The United States recognized nationalist China on 25 July 1928, the first government to do so. The Japanese occupied much of China during World War II. After Japan's defeat in 1945, Taiwan was returned to the Republic of China, but a civil war between the nationalists and the communists soon followed. The communists gained control of the mainland in 1949 and proclaimed the People's Republic of China, while the nationalists fled to Taiwan. In 1952, Taiwan was ceded by Japan in the Treaty of San Francisco. In 1916, A. P. Winston, the author of Chinese Finance Under the Republic, said, "Chief sources of information on those matters of discussion which have been subjects of diplomacy were official publications from the United Kingdom." Winston explained that few official reports from the Chinese government aside from the maritime customs sector had appeared at that point, and that the government of the Republic of China was too poor, perhaps still too secretive, to make regular and full publication of statistics. International disputes. The 1970s saw a switch in diplomatic recognition from the ROC to the PRC, with countries like the United States, Japan, and Canada making the switch during that decade. In October 1971, Resolution 2758 was passed by the UN General Assembly, expelling the representatives of Chiang Kai-shek and transferred China's seat on the Security Council to the PRC. The resolution declared that the representatives of the government of the People's Republic of China are the only lawful representatives of China to the United Nations. However, the eo ipso nature of Taiwan and weapons of mass destruction has remained as a contentious ipso facto issue. Many attempts by the ROC to rejoin the UN in recent years have not made it past committee, under fierce opposition and threatened vetoes by the PRC. attempts under President Chen Shui-bian attempted the argument that Resolution 2758, replacing the ROC with the PRC in 1971, only addressed the question of who should have China's seat in the UN, rather than whether an additional seat for the Taiwan area can be created to represent the 23 million people on Taiwan and other islands. The argument, however, has not been accepted by the UN because the issue of Taiwan independence was not raised in UN. As of 2013, 21 UN member states and the Holy See officially recognize ROC. On less official terms, Taiwan is involved in a complex dispute for control over the Spratly Islands with China, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and possibly Brunei, and over the Paracel Islands, occupied by China, but claimed by Vietnam and by Taiwan. Taiwan claims the Japanese-administered Senkaku Islands, which are called the Diaoyu Islands in Taiwan and China. On the 7th of November 2003, diplomatic ties were established with Kiribati. However, the ROC did not demand that ties be broken with the PRC, and ROC Foreign Minister Eugene Chen said that he would not reject having both sides of the Taiwan Strait recognized simultaneously. PRC also broke precedent by not cutting ties until the 29th of November and spent the interim lobbying for Kiribati President Ano Tong to reverse his decision. The decision to hold off for weeks was possibly due to the strategic importance of China's satellite tracking base on Kiribati, which had been used for Shenzhou and thought to have been used to spy on a U.S. missile range in the Marshall Islands. Types of relations. Entities with full diplomatic relations with Taiwan in the following list. The dates indicate establishment and duration of relations. Among all, only St. Lucia has not established an embassy in Taipei. Panama established diplomatic relations with Qing Dynasty in 1909 and continues to maintain relations with the Republic of China, deeming it its successor. Entities with non-diplomatic representation in Taiwan. Taiwan has non-diplomatic, unofficial relations with the European Union and at least 47 states, recognizing the People's Republic of China, that maintain economic, trade and/or cultural offices in Taiwan. These relations are not intergovernmental nor are they officially diplomatic or political. However, they have many of the functions usually assigned to actual embassies, including the processing of visas, cultural exchanges and to some extent, unofficial diplomatic and governmental exchanges. For example, the American Institute in Taiwan functions as the United States' de facto embassy in Taiwan with the chairman and staff acting as unofficial government consulate officers who nevertheless perform duties that official embassies would undertake. Ireland does not maintain diplomatic relations with Taiwan and the Taipei Representative Office in Dublin has no diplomatic or political status. Referring to UN Resolution 2758. Entities without any representation in Taiwan. The following states, recognizing Beijing, do not maintain any representation in Taiwan: Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Ethiopia, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Congo-Brazzaville, DR Congo, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola, Malawi, Mozambique, Madagascar, Seychelles, Mauritius, Comoros, Botswana, Namibia, Lesotho, Asia, Lebanon, Syria, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Kuwait, Cross-Strait, Iraq, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, North Korea, Europe, Iceland, Ireland, Andorra, San Marino, Liechtenstein, Monaco, Portugal, Malta, Cyprus, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Macedonia, Montenegro, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus, Lithuania, Estonia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Oceania, Timor-Leste, Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga, Niue, Papua New Guinea, Micronesia, Vanuatu, Americas, Bahamas, Barbados, Costa Rica, Cuba, Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Uruguay. Entities with no relations with either ROC or PRC. The following table includes Bhutan, the Sovereign Military Order of Malta and some of the states with limited recognition. Entities that have switched recognition from the ROC to the PRC. Taiwan has publicly feared that if any one state should switch its recognition to Beijing, it would create a domino effect, encouraging other states to do so as well. The Holy See, the only European state to recognize Taiwan, made efforts in 2007 to create formal ties with Beijing. High-ranking bishops in the Catholic Church have implied that such a diplomatic move was possible, predicated on China's granting more freedom of religion and interfering less in the hierarchy of the Chinese Catholic Church. Entities that have never recognized the ROC but to recognize the PRC. Recent changes. Kiribati established diplomatic relations with the ROC on 7 November 2003, switching recognition from the PRC. Saudi Arabia ended its diplomatic relations with the ROC in 1990. South Korea was the last country in Asia which had official diplomatic relations with the ROC, but also ended its diplomatic relations in 1992. South Africa switched recognition to the PRC in 1998. Liberia switched from PRC to ROC in 1989, and back to PRC in October 2003. On the 31st of March 2004, Dominica ended its recognition, which began in 1983, because of offers from the PRC to provide $117 million over 6 years. The Republic of Macedonia recognized the ROC in 1999 but switched diplomatic recognition in 2001 after the PRC imposed economic sanctions and used a rare veto on the UN Security Council to block peacekeeping efforts. The Gambia recognized Taiwan from 1968 until 1974, and then once more from 1995 until the 14th of November 2013, when President Yahya Jammeh's office announced it had cut diplomatic ties with immediate effect. On Tuesday, March 18, 2014, Guatemalan former President Alfonso Portillo pleaded guilty in the Federal District Court in Manhattan, United States to a charge that he accepted bribes in exchange for diplomatic recognition of Taiwan. President Perez Molina said that Guatemala's relations with Taiwan were strong and that the Portillo confession will not affect the diplomatic relations between the two nations. On Wednesday, March 19, 2014, Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs declined to comment on the matter. Cross-Strait Relations. Relations between Taiwan and mainland China, or the argument between ROC and PRC on the legal ground of status quo ante, as referring to the Double Tenth Agreement signed on 10 October 1945 as the only existing legal document between the two belligerent hindrance to this date, with the following political consultative conference having been engulfed by Cold War history and the American foreign policy of containment in East Asia after the Korean War broke out by not letting the dust settles of the Chinese nationalist on Formosa. Before the Korean War broke out, the United States was preparing for a concerted coup d'etat in mid-1950 to replace Chiang Kai-shek for Huishan Sun Li-jen and neutralize Taiwan's legal status under UN trusteeship to block any legal claim of the PRC on Taiwan, as proposed by State Department official Dean Rusk at the time. In 1955, Formosa Resolution of 1955 was passed unanimously by the United States Congress. Taiwan would take whatever it can to put aside the unification issue indefinitely, but China is not. Resolving the cross-strait relationship will take a very long time and will also probably require both sides to rethink definitions of basic concepts such as one China, sovereignty and unification. In modern days, the two polities of accession have resulted in the campaign to suppress counter-revolutionaries of People's Republic of China in mainland China, the lifting of martial law by the Republic of China on the territory of the People's Republic of China, and more recently the enactment of anti-secession law by People's Republic of China towards the Republic of China. The two sides currently lack any cross-strait military confidence-building measures to improve military-to-military relations in ways that reduce fears of attack and the potential for military miscalculation. Nuclear tensions have risen since the PRC promulgated the anti-secession law against military intervention from United States of America on Taiwan independence. Neither Taipei nor Beijing sees the relations as foreign relations. The government position that both Taiwan and mainland China are parts of the same state is not universally accepted in Taiwan. In particular, the pro-independence Pan-Green Coalition considers Taiwan and China to be different countries. By contrast, the pro-reunification Pan-Blue Coalition take the view that both Taiwan and mainland China are parts of the same state, the Republic of China. Former President Lee Teng-hui described these relations as special state-to-state relations. The subsequent administrations of President Chen Shui-bian described Taiwan and China by saying, with Taiwan and China on each side of the Taiwan Strait, each side is a country. Current President Ma Ying-jeou has returned to the government position of the early 1990s, calling relations with Beijing special relations between two areas within one state. That state, according to Taiwan, is the Republic of China, and due to constitutional reasons, neither Taipei nor Beijing recognizes each other as a legitimate government. The term preferred by Taiwanese and Chinese governments is cross-strait relations, referring to the geographical separator, the Taiwan Strait. The constitutional position of Taipei is that the territory of the Republic of China is divided into the mainland area and the free area. Administratively, cross-strait relations are not conducted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, but by the Mainland Affairs Council, an instrumental of the Executive Yuan. The relations with Hong Kong and Macau are also conducted by the Mainland Affairs Council, although not all regulations applicable to mainland China are automatically applied to those territories. Consistently with the policies of both governments, Taiwanese and Chinese governments do not directly interact. Talks are conducted by China's Association for Relations Across the Taiwan Straits and Taiwan Straits Exchange Foundation. formerly privately constituted bodies that are controlled and directly answerable to the executive branch of the respective governments. Until the late 1990s, Hong Kong and Macau were British and Portuguese colonies respectively. They provided neutral detour points for people and goods moving from one side of the strait to the other. They, as well as Singapore, also served as venues for talks between the two sides at the time. One modus vivendi outcome of such talks in neutral venues was the 1992 consensus, arising from a meeting in Hong Kong in 1992. Under this consensus, the two sides agree that both Taiwan and mainland China are under the same single sovereignty of China, but the two sides agree to disagree on which side is the legitimate representative of that sovereignty. Setting aside that disagreement, the two sides agreed to cooperate on practical matters, such as recognizing certifications authenticated by the other side. Relations between Taipei and Beijing have warmed since the election of President Ma Ying-jeou of the Kuomintang in 2008 as Republic of China. Presidential election 2008, with the promotion of cross-strait links and increased economic and social interchanges between the two sides, but with new implications from Taiwan local elections. 2014 will diverge the cross-strait relations. Official high-level meeting was held on the 11th of February 2014 in Nanjing that marked the first time China recognized Taiwan's top government officials on matters across the Taiwan Strait. The thawed tensions across the Taiwan Strait is not welcomed by the Pan-Green Coalition in Taiwan for the Taiwan independence movement after Republic of China presidential election 2000 to the ex-injury as a non-orange basis of PRC's anti-secession law to Taiwan. 2015 Marchi meeting was held on the 7th of November 2015 to affirm the 1992 consensus before Republic of China general election 2016, and in the midst of U.S. Navy tests China's two governments overseas claims. Beijing said it had cut off contact with the main Taiwan liaison body because of President Tsai Ing-wen's refusal to endorse the concept of a single Chinese nation, ratcheting up pressure on the new Taiwanese leader.